Hi, welcome to Education 333. This is methods and materials, reading methods and materials, for secondary content areas. So we are thrilled to jump in with you and explore how to support our students' literacy. We know how important it is to be able to read, write, speak, and listen. Um, in order to learn any of our content areas. And so we want to make sure we're doing that through this course. This is a brief overview of how to navigate the course, and I'm going to also talk about the field experience briefly. Of course, all of the materials are here for you to jump in. So this is what your canvas is going to look like. Notice on the left-hand side, we don't have a ton of tabs. We just kept it to the few that it was going to take to make sure that you could access the material. As soon as you open, all of your modules are right here. Your syllabus and course calendar is going to be right here. So syllabus, course calendar. This is how you will access your grades in the course. Those are all loaded. Notice the due dates are there, ready to go. That's going to be your grades. And then when you hit home, it's going to take you back to your modules. Notice that the modules, you encounter them, they are going to be collapsed. Simply hit the arrow and it's going to drop down what you need for each module. Every module is set up with an overview that's going to walk you through what the material that you're going to have for this particular module, as well as the assignments, the recommended reading, and any supplementary materials. As you continue through the module, you will see that there is a slide deck that will contain the content. And then there's also a narrated version. And this is essentially like lecture format where your instructor or another instructor will walk you through the content. Your observation and field hours are going to be embedded within the module as well. And then if you have an assignment, it will also be present. So for example, like the first module, you have discussion board 1. So let me just briefly go over that modules 1 through 7 are what we consider to be front-loading the content of the course. And this is all about what literacy is and the science of reading. Module 8 is your midterm module. And then after midterm, when we get into modules 9 through 14, that is going to be where you are going to plan a lesson and you are going to teach it in your class, your field placement class, and then you're going to reflect on your performance and self-evaluate. And that is going to be your focus for the last half of the class. So the first half is the materials portion of it and the methods. And then the last half is the application of those materials and methods. All right, so let's briefly go back and look at the observation and field hours. And so it's going to pull up right here for us. And when it opens up, notice that at the top, there are going to be some directions about how you can download this form and type into it. So just look at the top, the yellow highlighting, and it's going to walk you through how to do that. And then your record of field experience is embedded right here. So we're going to take a look at both of these documents. So the first one is our the chart, and it pertains to modules 3 through 7. Notice that you're going to complete that record of field experience, which is loading. I've already partially completed it for you. The red is the parts I've already completed for you. Make sure you read the yellow directions. It tells you more about how to do this. And then I've partially filled out the chart for you as well. All right. And then the second part is then you are going to use your experiences. So you're going to complete this chart, and each portion of this is going to coordinate with one of the modules. So for example, you don't actually start collecting your field experience until module 3. And as you go through this, you're going to see that it reminds you of what you studied in this module. You're going to have a date and a time. Make sure you have to get 2 hours. So you can either get them on the same days or you can split the dates up, do like a Monday and a Tuesday, or get them both on a Monday, whatever you choose. It does need to be 2 hours though. Okay. Now in this next column, you are going to record what you observed. The great thing about this class is if you are a PBC student, you can actually use your students. You are allowed to go into a certified teacher's class if you would like to and collect some observation data, not a problem at all. But you are allowed to use your own students for this. As an undergrad student, you will actually be in a field placement with Dr. Benoit. And so in either case, you're going to be actively involved supporting students. So we're not expecting you to actually script any observations at this point, but you do need to put down the evidence. What did you observe? And so if you look in Module 3, we are looking for things about background knowledge and vocabulary. And so there are some look fors, and you're just going to want to write down the specific evidence of what you observed. For example, in parentheses here, there are some different examples. So for example, if they had partner reading, if there were any explicit vocabulary instruction, maybe they were doing things in the glossary, whatever. So you would record what the evidence was, and then this is where you're going to evaluate and analyze what you actually observed. Did you think that the methods and materials for background knowledge and vocabulary, were they appropriate for the students? Were they grade appropriate? Did it look like everyone in the class was able to access and understand the material? Or maybe were there two students maybe who had special needs or maybe had English as a second language who were not able to access material? And so that is something that you would want to note. It doesn't mean everything's done perfectly. You can even make connections to your personal experience. For example, if you encounter a strategy that is really excellent for building background knowledge, maybe you could say something like, I wish I would have had this as a student. It would have helped me perhaps in my understanding of science because why? So you're briefly filling out this chart, and you're going to do this for modules 3 through 7. 3 through 7. When you get to the end of this, you are going to have 8 hours of field experience. And then you will be set up and prepared to do part 2 of your midterm exam. So part 1 is a multiple choice test, and part 2 is the midterm exam. And it breaks it down right here, what the essay prompts are. You actually get to pick 2. You don't have to do all 3. But you will use your observation to complete that portion. This is the rubric for the essays that you'll do for your midterm. And then there's even a space for you to actually type in right here. So this will all stay in one document, and you will turn it in Module 8 as part of your midterm. And so the field hours will count as 50 points of the first part of your field experience for the course. So it's 8 of your 15 hours is going to be from this. And then the midterm portion is 50 points, and that will be the written work. But you will just turn this one document and you'll get credit for both. So the second portion of your observation hours is actually going to come from modules 9 through 14. I'm sorry, 12 rather. 9 through 12. And you actually are going to get to gain field experience from developing a lesson plan, which is the intentional planning document, and planning. So you'll be peer reviewing, and then you're going to plan to teach your field lesson, and then you're going to actually teach your field lesson and reflect on it. And you will gain your 7 hours of field experience here in this portion. And so it's going to walk you through how to submit that right here in Module 13. There's a place right here, and it walks you step by step how to submit that portion of it. I'll I'm sorry, it's not unlocked until the 25th, but it will. It'll walk you step by step how to do that. So I hope that this gives you some insight about what's in store for us for Education 333. We are excited and we look forward to learning with you in the class. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.